What if the story of who you are, your deepest emotions, your most intimate decisions, your entire personality, were contained within a tiny territory just a few centimeters beneath your skull? Welcome to Neuro and Psycho channel. The human brain is a fascinating landscape, a small space, yet infinitely rich. Today, let's set out together to explore its 4 great territories. Welcome to this odyssey inside the brain.
Dividing the brain into lobes is not just a matter of anatomy. It is a way to explore how biological matter becomes thought. Each region of the brain has a dominant function, a kind of specialization, yet none ever works alone. We distinguish 4 main lobes: the parietal lobe, which connects the body to space; the occipital lobe, which transforms light into images; the frontal lobe, which guides our actions and decisions; and the temporal lobe, which preserves our memories and gives meaning to language. Together, they form a living unity, a system in which every part communicates with the others to give rise to consciousness. The first territory, located just behind your forehead, is the frontal lobe. It is often described as the brain's conductor, because this is where our thoughts take shape, our decisions are formed, and our behaviors adjust to the context. It is the region of planning. It allows you to anticipate an action before carrying it out, to imagine a logical sequence of steps to reach a goal. It is also the seat of control. It helps you resist an impulse, hold back a word, and choose a response suited to the situation. And finally, it is the home of creativity, of abstract thinking, of everything that enables us to conceive new ideas. The frontal lobe is the place where thought becomes intention. Here emerges our ability to imagine the future, to choose a direction, and to understand ourselves. Headphones. Slide 4, temporal lobe. Now let's move a little lower to each side of the brain near the temples. Here lies the temporal lobe, the great archivist of our personal history. It records events, organizes them, and can reactivate them years later. But this territory is not limited to memory. It also plays a central role in human hearing and in spoken language, the complex system through which we share our thoughts. In this region, the brain identifies and differentiates sounds. It recognizes a familiar voice, perceives subtle changes in tone, and appreciates the richness of a melody. Then other areas take over to transform those sounds into language. They connect words to meaning, giving speech its depth and emotion. At the heart of this territory lies a small structure shaped like a seahorse, the hippocampus. It is here that experiences are engraved and become lasting memories. Each time a song brings you back to a moment from the past, or a scent awakens a childhood memory, it is the hippocampus, together with the temporal lobe, that weaves this invisible link between perception and memory, between what we live and what we keep within us. Hand with finger splayed. Slide 5, parietal lobe. The third territory, the parietal lobe, sits at the top of the skull. It plays a fundamental role in the perception of space and of the body. It allows us to sense the position of our limbs, measure distances, and understand the shape and texture of objects. When you reach out to grasp something, the parietal lobe constantly calculates the trajectory, adjusts the strength of the movement, and helps coordinate your gestures. This region also supports more abstract functions, such as calculation, which involves reasoning and the mental manipulation of numbers, or orientation, which helps us locate our bodies in space and move through it with precision. Without the parietal lobe, we could not write, find our way in a room, or even distinguish the boundary between ourselves and the outside world. At the very back of the brain lies the occipital lobe. It is the territory of vision, the place where light signals become coherent images. Every time light reaches your eyes, it is converted into electrical impulses that travel to this region to be decoded. Here, the brain rebuilds the visual world. It first detects shapes, tracing outlines and silhouettes. Then it analyzes colors, their shades and contrasts. Finally, it perceives movement, direction, speed, and change within the image. By linking all these elements together, the brain constructs a stable and coherent perception of reality. In other words, it is not your eyes that see, it is your brain. It gives meaning to light, transforming photons into landscapes, faces, and visual memories. This silent territory, nestled at the back of the skull, is the origin of everything we believe we see. Light bulb slide 7th. Cooperation. These 4 regions never work in isolation. They communicate constantly, exchanging signals through an immense network of nerve fibers. When you walk, the brain coordinates movement, balance, and spatial perception. When you speak, it activates regions for language, memory, and motor control. And when you feel an emotion, other areas light up, linking the circuits of sensation and self-awareness. In other words, several lobes activate simultaneously, working together to produce a single, unified experience. The frontal lobe plans the action, the parietal lobe adjusts the body's position, the temporal lobe preserves the memory of the movement, and the occipital lobe guides it through vision. This constant coordination allows our behavior to remain fluid, precise, and conscious. The human mind emerges from this cooperation, a symphony in which every instrument contributes its own tone. The brain is not a simple organ. It is a universe with 4 dimensions. To decide, to remember, to perceive, to see, functions intertwined, orchestrated, and integrated into a single whole. For territories, one consciousness, yours, and at the center of this symphony, one instrument stands out, the prefrontal cortex. It supervises, evaluates, and allows us to act with intention rather than reflex.
In the next episode, we'll dive into this fascinating region, the center of reasoning, self-control, and moral thought.
If you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to catch our upcoming videos. Together, let's keep growing a culture of scientific curiosity at Neuro Psycho website.